And hello again, and here we are back in my storage unit. And as you can see, I've now got plenty of boxes stored away, which are full of my junk or valuable spare parts, along with 3 of my bikes. And in fact, I've still got 1 or 2 to bring here, but that's not happened yet. I've also got plenty of spare parts over there behind the camera, and also I've got quite a few photographs on the wall and paintings and so on, making it all look a bit more homely. But the subject of this video is not my new unit. No, because I think this video will be the start of a new series. And this series will be about buying a brand new bike, the trials and tribulations of trying to find a suitable new bike for me. Because for the last year or so, I wanted to buy a new bike, a brand new bike. Yes, I've got plenty of bikes at the moment, but most of them are special bikes. They've got little niggles and problems as you go along, and they're also bloody expensive to insure as well. So what I wanted was a brand new bike. You just get on it, turn the key, it goes, you can go wherever you like. No worries, no problems, insurance won't be an issue. So yeah, I just wanted to buy a brand new bike. I've actually not bought a brand new bike since 1999, so it's been 25 years since I bought a new bike, so I think it's high time. So, about a year ago, the search began. And so the first point to make is that the perfect bike for me today is not the perfect bike for me 5 years ago, and probably won't be in 5 years' time. And it certainly won't be perfect for you, because everyone's got a different set of criteria for what makes a perfect bike in that moment. Now in my case, at the moment, I really can't be away from home for more than about half a day. So buying a big, powerful sports tourer, which maybe is a bike I would consider, is at the moment off the table. Yeah, I would love to go to the south of France every year and watch the Bol d'Or again at the Paul Ricard circuit, or travel around Europe, around Britain, but that's not on the cards at the moment. And so looking around the market, let's start off with the Japanese, the big four. Start off with Honda. So what do Honda make at the moment that might appeal to me? Well, not much, in fact nothing at all. I've never been a really big fan of Hondas, a bit bland, a bit boring. Yes, they're fast, they're well made, but I really don't get on with them, so we'll cross out Honda. Ditto Yamaha. Yamaha are kind of poor man's Honda for me, and they don't make anything that appeals to me at the moment. So moving on then to Suzuki, what do they do? Well, as I say, I don't need a big touring bike, so the 1000 GT, which is a nice bike, is off the table. I was quite intrigued by the new retro that came out a while ago, which was the Katana 1000, because I have owned the original Katanas. I've owned 3 of them over the years, and I do like the style. When I saw photographs of it, I thought, yeah, that's really cool, you know, that's kind of like a big cyberpunk. I quite like that look. And sure enough, the bodywork is beautiful, I really like it. But if you look down below the bodywork, oh my god, the frame, the engine, it's from I think a 1000 K5, a GSXR K5, and that frame and that engine really should be hidden away behind a fairing. It just doesn't suit the bike. I just wish Suzuki had gone to extra trouble of building their own frame, a different frame, maybe a tubular frame, but they didn't, so that's out as well. So Suzuki are out. So then coming up to my favourite Japanese motorcycle make, Kawasaki. As I say, the Z1000 SX would be on my list, but right now I can't use it, so there's no point. Which brings me to the bike that I thought I was going to buy, which is the Z1000 RS Cafe. Now it's not perfect, I have had a go on one very briefly, and I did like it. Maybe a bit bland, I guess, it's a bit common, but yeah, it's a nice bike. The only thing I don't like about the Cafe is the colour choice. The colour schemes are bloody awful. You know, lime green and white, silver and green, and there's one green, white and black. You know, I don't like them at all. So I probably have to include the price of a repaint or a respray on a bike. An alternative would be to buy a standard version of the RS, which have a great range of colours, the classic orange and brown Jaffa cake, it's a really nice blue and gold one which I really like, and so on. So I could buy one of them and then convert it to a Cafe, which I looked into. But it turned out to buy the bracketry and the cockpit fairing and so on from Kawasaki new, over £1,000. And then you've got to get it resprayed. In fact, I've just gone through all that process now because I've got an RS carbon fibre fairing from Japan, which I've had resprayed for my 1170 project. I do like it, but yeah, perhaps that Kawasaki's a bit too close to the bikes I've already got. In fact, it kind of mimics the look of the original bikes that I own. So, you know, I was in two minds if maybe I should get that or not. it didn't feel special enough. You know, I want a special bike. All my bikes are kind of different, unique, very unusual. So that's kind of new bike one that I want to buy. But of course, from a major manufacturer, you know, you'll struggle to find anything unique. So let's move on then to the Italians. I do like Ducatis, but the only Ducati that's probably appropriate for what I'm looking for at the moment, kind of semi-naked, good bike around town, not too uncomfortable to ride, and so on, will be the Monster. And unfortunately, Ducati have ruined it up to me. They've fitted a different frame, they've lost a classic trellis frame that the original Monsters had that everyone loved. And yeah, looking at a Monster now, it just looks like it could be a Suzuki SV 650 or a 1000. It just lost its uniqueness. I really don't like the look of the current Ducati Monster. I don't want a Panigale, don't like the look of them, and it's not suitable for what I need anyway. They do the 950 Sport, which is kind of like a watered down Panigale, but again, don't like the look. I don't like the look of it, and yeah, no thanks. So moving over to Moto Guzzi, Mandello. Yeah, they just recently brought out a brand new engine transmission in a brand new bike, the V100 Mandello. And yeah, the wheels look lovely, suspension's great, engine's fantastic. I've heard good things about them, good transmission, really great update. What I don't like about it is the bodywork. I just think it looks like some sort of late 80s Honda. You know, it just doesn't look like an Italian bike. It doesn't have that flair that I'm looking for. They've also recently brought out the adventure version of that bike, the Stelvio. Of course, that's not good to me because I don't want an adventure bike. So I have been waiting and hoping they come out with a Le Mans version, which perhaps would suit me a bit better. You know, good looking, sporty bike, but hopefully not too uncomfortable with low bars. So far, they haven't, so unfortunately, Moto Guzzi are out of the picture. So this is getting difficult, isn't it? So moving on then to Germany and BMW. Yeah, the inline fours don't appeal to me. They do a sort of standardish looking bike that's based on the RR, but it just looks like a bike with the fairing ripped off, so no thanks. But they do make a sort of neo-retro, the well-known R90T. So that was sort of, that interested me a little bit. So I looked into that, and they recently brought out a new version. I'm not sure if it's better looking or not than the old version, but it's a little bit better overall. It's now 12cc. So yeah, it's got all mod cons, you know, it's all pretty cool. But the price, oh my god, the price, they want the world for them bikes, you know, something like £18,000, £19,000. I just thought it was massively overpriced. And also, sadly, I've got a sort of a negative opinion of modern BMWs because I once went to a BMW dealer looking to buy an expensive bike, and I was treated like shit, you know, and it left a sort of sour taste in my mouth, and I swore I would never buy a BMW ever again. Whether it's a car or a bike, I'm never going to buy one. So they are out of the picture, I'm afraid. So moving on then to America, what we got? We got Harley and we got Indian. Well, Indians are just poor man's Harleys or copies of Harleys, apart from the flat tracker looking thing, the FTR, which is quite a cool looking bike. Might do me, but again, quite expensive. Dealers are quite rare in the UK, so it's certainly around where I am. And yeah, there's something odd about it. The tank doesn't look quite right, and I'm not sure that it's you know, the sort of spare situation long term will be suitable for me. So yeah, I'm afraid Indian are out of the picture, which leaves me with, of course, Harley. Now I do own a Harley. I've got a big 131 cubic inch Softail just over here that I built in 2000. So by chance I happened to go to a meet-up a few weeks ago where they had a demo day for Harley, Manchester Harley. So I got to go on a bike. I got to go on one of the Softail M8s. I think it was 114 cubic inches, and for the size of the engine it wasn't that powerful. It was nice, it was smoother than mine, a lot smoother. It's got ABS, got better suspension of course. Yeah, it was okay, but I think it was a bit too close to the one I've got, except it was just kind of smoothed out. It was very smooth, very sort of bland almost. I mean, obviously you'll fit the loud pipes to it and pay the Harley tax to get it mapped and all that kind of stuff, but to get the power out of one of those engines that I've already got out of my bike here, which is about 130 brake, you're looking at a stage 4, it's called stage 4 conversion, taking it out to about 131 cubic inches. You've got to basically rebuild the engine, and it's over 5,000 quid on top of the almost 20 grand for the bike. So I didn't think that was suitable. Also, the big problem I've got with Harleys, modern Harleys in particular, is the weight. God, they're so heavy. I'm looking to get a lighter bike, you know, not so much when I'm riding it, but just when I'm pushing it in here or at home and trying to manoeuvre it through a narrow door. You don't want a £650 motorbike, you know, to fall on you when all that's going on. So, while I was interested, having ridden it, it was like, no, it's too close to what I've already got, while being a sort of more modern, sanitised version of my bike. So that's out of the picture as well. And so moving on then to Britain and Triumph. And Triumph are doing okay. I did briefly own a black 955 Speed Triple. I quite liked it. It felt a bit top heavy to me, but it was okay. And I did like its successor, which is a 1050. You know, I quite like the look of that. But I think for my current needs of having a bike that's good around town, can just go out for half a day, it maybe is a bit over the top. They now do, of course, the new bikes as 1200cc, and they do a bike whose name I can't remember, but it's got the half bearing, and I thought, you know, that's pretty cool, sort of Gentleman's Express. But I'm not sure about the fairing look and the way the headlamp treatment is, and yeah, I don't think they're selling very many of those. So yeah, that's a possibility, a 1200 Thruxton or RS. I believe just started making them now. They just stopped making the last of the line. And I have briefly ridden a Thruxton about 3 years ago. I quite liked it, a good engine, but it's water cooled, of course, and yeah, there's some details that I didn't quite like. The colours weren't too good, and I hate the matte and satin finish that they give to the paintwork. You know, paintwork should be glossy, not dull and satin or matte. I sort of hate all that modern trend of paint. But also, there's one thing I didn't like about all the Triumphs, all the Bonneville range, and it's a small thing, it's a tiny thing, but it just really, really annoys me. And that is the tank seam. It's got a big, thick tank seam all around the tank. It just looks cheap. It looks like, well, you can't be asked to make a tank look good. But they can do, because their off-roaders, their sort of Scrambler, 12 and Scrambler, that's got a seamless tank, which looks really nice. So for God's sake, Triumph, go that extra mile and make a tank that looks good without that horrible seam. So that sort of put me off buying one of the bikes. But it was on the list. So far then, on my little list, it's like neo-classic, if you like, or neo-retro, whatever they're called. Got the Triumph T120 Bonneville Thruxtons, or whatever the modern equivalent is. We've got the Speed Triple, we've got the Z900 RS Cafe. But none of them are kind of, you know, saying, yes, buy me. And I did, and of course the BMW R90, yeah, that it's recently revamped and is now very bloody expensive. I could have bought an old one, of course, one that's a bit older, and live with that. So, after a year of looking around and prodding motorbikes in bike shops occasionally, and occasionally going out and actually going to ride one, I was still kind of not happy. I couldn't find anything that would suit me at the moment. And so, as you can see, buying a new bike isn't so easy. So for the last year or so, I've really not found anything that I want to buy. I mean, if you're going to spend all that money on a bike, on a new bike, you better damn like it. And so far, I've not found anything that appeals to me. That's sort of like a good bike for the road. It's not a race bike. It's a good bike for country lanes and so on, for going out for half a day. A bike that's fairly unique, or at least, you know, limited edition, if you like, with high quality parts that will fit in well with my current collection of bikes and would encourage you to get out and ride. That was until about 2 weeks ago. Because 2 weeks ago, there I was looking through eBay, as I often do at bikes, and the bike sort of jumped out at me. I thought, oh, that's a nice bike, and that's a nice price too. Why is it so cheap? Turned out it was a demo bike with 600 miles on the clock, which is going for a good price from a dealer that I've never heard of before. And it turned out the dealer had recently taken on that particular brand and was obviously selling the new bikes that I never knew about. Turned out it's only about 20 minutes away from me, so I drove over there last week on a very wet, misty day. So I knew I couldn't go for a test ride because I didn't want to ride a brand new bike in bad weather when I didn't even know the area. I mean, I don't want to go around trashing a brand new bike. So I got there, had a good chat with the salesman there. He was really helpful. I got to sit on the bike, we took it outside under a canopy, started it up, sounded good, went through all the details, and eventually I must have spent half an hour on my hands and knees looking at this damn bike. I was looking at it so carefully, every nut and bolt, every wire, where the cables went, and so on, looking at the paintwork. And honestly, apart from one small styling issue, I couldn't find fault with it. I mean, it was so beautifully made. I mean, I know because I bloody build my own bikes, but whenever you look at a new bike, you think, oh, I'll change those brake lines, I'll change those fasteners for new titanium or stainless steel, whatever. Oh, I don't like the welding on that frame, you know. But no, this thing it looked like a kind of one-off custom bike. It was so well made, so I was very impressed. Not cheap though. So we had a chat, and I was dead set on buying this particular bike. But then the salesman said, well, hang on, for £500 more, we've got a special deal on right now. You can buy a brand new one. Oh, okay, well, that sounds good. What colour do you want? We went through it all, and I bought the damn bike. And that bike is due to arrive tomorrow. It's been delivered. I have to wait for it to be registered and so on and get all the insurances sorted out. And that's why right now I'm in a rush to get everything I need in here, in this workshop, to give me space at home to keep this new, brand new bike that I just bought. It's quite valuable. I want to make sure it's tucked away, nice and safe in my garage. So yeah, it's been quite an interesting few days sorting all that out. So I won't tell you what the bike is until it arrives. But if you want, put a comment in the description below and see if you can guess what bike I bought. I'll give you a clue. It's got ollie suspension. That's the only clue I'm going to give you. So that's it for now then. So thanks for watching and cheers.